Yo, 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 what's up? Back once again with another movie review, man. I was trying to record this review yesterday and I was trying to go on a different angle. I was trying to do a much more detailed review. I was trying to basically break the movie down and it was just way too long winded. I had so many notes, there was so many details, and my voice pretty much gave out on me midway, so I couldn't even finish it. It was very difficult to do, so that's why I'm doing this review now. Probably a little bit late on it, but whatever, man. I'm talking about the new movie Us, directed and written by Jordan Peele, starring Lupita Nyong'o. This is Jordan Peele's second movie that he's directed and written. The first one, of course, was Get Out, that came out 2 years ago, and it was, very well received movie. A lot of people loved it. I know I definitely loved it. I only saw it one time in the theaters, but that was pretty much enough for me. Not in a bad way, of course, but I had a lot of fun when I was watching it. Everybody was in it, so he's coming off the strengths of a highly praised film, a blockbuster success. So a lot of people wasn't anticipating this one, man. So, now that the movie's out, what do I think about it? I got to tell you, man, this is the best movie I've seen so far this year. I know that's a big statement to make. We're not even quarter of the way through the year yet, but man, this film just is just deep on so many levels. Jordan Peele, he's done it once again, man. Like, he's hit another home run out the park. And yeah, it's so much symbolism, so many things you could take away from it, and it was just a solid movie through and through. I do have some questions here and there. I get to that in a minute, but overall, like, I love this film. I actually saw it twice. Yeah, I wasn't even planning on seeing it twice, but the first time I was like, yo, I got to see this again because I want to get everything. And I saw it twice and loved it, man. Loved it both times. Lupita Nyong'o, she did great. Actually, the dude who played M'Baku in Black Panther, he plays Lupita's husband in this, and he did a really good job. The two kids that's in the movie, Lupita's children, they did a real good job, and like I said, it's just solid cast. The story is very deep. It's definitely a story that you could just rewatch over and over and over and get something new every time, because like I said, there's a lot of subliminal messages throughout the movie. A lot of numbers and just references to certain things, and you just have to just pick up on it. Like, Jordan Peele, his style is very, he has a lot of scenes where it's just a lot of subtlety. So, you may not even catch it the first time, but after watching it like 2, 3 times, you may be like, oh, snap, I didn't even see that the first time. That's, the type of director he is, and that's what I like. I like movies that you could enjoy on the surface, but then that there's something deeper going on, and each time you watch, you could get, a new meaning each time. So it's definitely multi-layered, man. And like I said, man, Jordan Peele, he did his thing once again on this, man. It's just super deep, so detailed, that's why I'm recording this review so late, because I was trying to do a detailed breakdown of the film, but I just couldn't do it. My voice was just, it was just giving up on me, man. So I'm just gonna go old school, just sticking to what I know best, giving you the good, giving you the bad, and wrapping it up from there. So, man, yeah, like I said, the story, like I said, this is how I'm going to do it. This is going to be like my non-spoiler stuff, just overall thoughts. And then I'm going to just go into some of the spoilers. So if you haven't watched the movie yet, you can still watch this part. And then when I get to the spoiler stuff, I'm just going to let you know, hey, stop watching from this point. So, yeah, man, like, it's, like I said, it's great, but I feel like compared to Get Out, I feel like this one wouldn't be as well received with other people as Get Out, because I feel like Get Out told a story that everybody could relate to. Like, it told the story of, white people and black people, and definitely towards the end, got everybody excited because we all thought, that, the same thing was going to happen, like how it happens in all these other movies. But then there was a little twist at the end, and it got everybody excited. And like I said, the overall story, a lot more people could relate to. I was watching Doug Walker's review of this film, and I think he summed it up best. He said that, a lot more people will probably like Get Out over this because Get Out felt more humane, like it had more humanity than this film. And I think that he's right. This film, like I said, it's definitely multi-layered, and like especially when you watch it all the way through the end, I don't feel like people are gonna have that same reaction when they saw Get Out. When they see the ending of this, they're probably gonna be scratching their heads a little bit, like, I kind of get it, but I don't really get it, and I don't, get what Jordan was trying to go for here. So I feel like a lot of people are just gonna leave the theater just kind of like scratching their heads a little bit, like I'm kind of confused. Whereas Get Out, it was just like, okay, we got the premise, we got what they was trying to say, and then it paid off very well in the end, and that's why everybody loved that film so much, because the black guy won at the end of the day. The black guy won. So of course everybody's gonna rejoice, especially, black people. They're gonna rejoice the most. So I feel like it told that story of, just the black guy, with this white family, and just looking at the situation that he's in. Of course, when we're talking about race, that's a very sensitive subject. And to see the black guy make it out of that situation that he was in, when you watch all these other movies, the black guy doesn't make it in those particular situations. But in this instance, he actually did. So that's why I feel like it kind of tugged on a lot of people's heartstrings a little bit. So like I said, Get Out was much more relatable, whereas this one told a much more deeper story, man, and I don't feel like it will relate to a lot of people. Like, a lot of people won't get it. You have to be like a certain kind of person to kind of like get this film where it was trying to go. And like I said, it's very multi-layered, so you could take different things out of it. I was watching other people's reviews, and they was putting their 2 cents as far as what they thought the movie meant. And I definitely see where they was trying to go. But, I felt a little bit differently from other people. But overall, yeah, I think people will like this film. I wouldn't say they will love it. I think a lot of people will like this film. Some will really like it a lot, like me. But I understand why a lot of people wouldn't fall in love with this one like how they did with Get Out. Because, like I said, it's a much more different movie than Get Out. This is not Get Out at all. It has some of the same, of course, horror elements and stuff, but that's just Jordan Peele's style. But as far as like story or whatever and characters, like it's a much different story. So I actually feel like some people will actually be disappointed with this one, to be honest, because coming from Get Out, they probably are gonna expect something much more similar to Get Out. But then when they see it, they're going to be like, wait, what the hell is this? Like, what? And I remember when the trailer first came out, everybody was trying to like connect it to Get Out. You know what I'm saying? And, once they see the movie and they see that it has nothing to do with Get Out at all, they're probably going to be like, oh, what the hell, man? So, like I said, I haven't watched too many reviews on it, but I feel like that's going to be the general perception. I feel like it's going to do well in the box office. I feel like it's going to be a very highly successful movie because it is a really good movie. And from the reviews that I've seen, a lot of people at least liked it. So, yeah, this film is going to make money, but I feel like it's not going to be as well received as Get Out just because of the deeper meaning and the symbolism and stuff like that. I guess from here, I'll get to, you know, a little bit of spoilers. So I'm just going to wrap this part up. Overall, like I said, I thought it was great. Best movie of the year, man. If you haven't seen it, definitely go and check it out, especially if you've seen Get Out. And like I said, you may not like it as much as me, and I totally get that. It's not a very easy movie to watch. It's not as easy as Get Out. But, you know, just check it out anyway, man, and see what you could take from it. That's all I could say. So now, okay, now that part's done. If you haven't seen this film yet, I suggest that you cut this video off right now, because I'm gonna go into some spoilers here, and basically gonna break down the basic premise. Now, this movie is about, of course, Lupita Nyong'o. It starts out when Lupita is young, and she's at this carnival. Yada yada yada. Dad wins a prize. You know, she picks the prize. It's a Michael Jackson tee. Blah blah blah. So eventually, she wanders off and she finds this house of mirrors. She enters the house of mirrors, and then she gets to a point where she sees a reflection of herself, but it's not a reflection. It's actually her that she's seeing, but she doesn't see the person's face. She only sees the back. So it cuts to, you know, this rabbit scene. That's the whole intro. And then basically it just cuts to when Lupita is grown up. Now she has a family. She's married with a husband. She has 2 kids. They're off on this family vacation. Yada, yada, yada. Everything is looking sweet. Everything is looking nice. They go to this beach. The family goes to this beach that Lupita doesn't really want to go to, because that's the same beach where the whole thing happened, where she enters the house of mirrors. That's where the whole carnival was, Santa Cruz. And, you know, she basically meets up with a friend, because in the beginning of the movie, Lupita, she's really quiet. She doesn't really speak much. And we find out why she doesn't really speak much. Is a twist at the end. It's a kind of a huge twist at the end. So in the beginning, she kind of has like this kind of like PTSD thing going on, where she's like always, sometimes she's in periods of trauma and she doesn't really talk to anybody. But in the beginning, you know, as the audience, we're all thinking that, you know, she's just going through some PTSD because of the traumas that she's been through when she was little. Like I said, come to find out, that's not the case at all. So basically, she's at this beach or whatever, and then, you know, they enjoy themselves, yada, 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 and then they get back home, and then the lights cut out. And then there's a family that's inside the driveway. Long story short, the family that's inside the driveway is actually a doppelganger of them, of their family, pretty much. And that's where stuff kicks the fan. This doppelganger family is going after Lupita's family, and it's basically, you know, they're trying to kill him, and Lupita's family is trying to escape. You know, they go to the friend's house, and the friend's house, the friend, because the friend, he has a family of his own too. He has a wife, and he has 2 daughters. Well, we come to find out that they also have a doppelganger. So the doppelganger kills that family, and when they arrive at the friend's house, the doppelganger family is waiting there, and they drag them in, and it's a big ongoing battle ensues between them. And then you cut towards the end where they drive back to their normal house, because the family vacation house was, I think it was Lupita's old house. But they drive to their house, the new house, towards the end, and car got on fire, yada, yada, yada. The son gets taken away, and Lupita goes back into the house of mirrors, and she opens up a secret door, which leads to like this underground sewage or underground tunnel area. And this is where everything gets revealed. And yeah, that's pretty much the end of the movie. I know I skipped over a whole bunch, but I don't want to go through point for point, because I'll be here all day. So that's basically the premise. Lupita, you know, basically has a family, and it's her doppelganger family attacking them, and they're trying to, you know, run away from them and just trying to escape pretty much. And it's basically like a revenge plot almost. So there's a lot of symbolism in this movie. So you have the number 1111, you have the number 5, you have the biblical reference to Jeremiah 11:11. You have the rabbits. You have the homeless man. You have Hands Across America. It's a whole, like, all these references that I just named are key references. So the numbers 11:11 pops up all throughout the film. Like, you see it on the clock. There's one scene where Lupita is putting her son to bed, and her son points at the clock that's on his dresser, and the clock reads 11:11. And he says, "Mom, look at the clock." And the clock reads 11:11. And, you know, Lupita tucks him away and stuff like that. And it also shows up in another scene where the dad is watching TV, and he's watching like a sports broadcast. And the sports broadcaster, now you don't see what's on the TV, but you can hear what's going on. And the sports broadcaster, he mentions 11:11. Actually, in the beginning of the film, where I was talking about when Lupita was younger, when she was at the carnival with her dad. Well, when the dad won the prize, he asked the daughter which number prize you want, because each prize is correlated to a number. So guess what number she picked? That's right, 11. So like I said, the numbers 11 is very key in this film. Talks about tethers. If you know what a tether is, it's basically like a bond between two entities. And basically, like, the doppelganger family is like the tethered version of the actual family. So, like I said, it's a lot of symbolism. Actually, the number 5 is also another number that shows up countless times throughout the film. I feel like it's probably more important than the number 11. I feel like the number 5 actually showed up more than the number 11. And all the other reviews that I've watched, none of them mention the number 5. Like, I only watched a couple, and the couple that I watched, like, all of them said, all of them mentioned the number 11, but none of them mentioned 5. I don't know, how do you miss that? Like, it was all throughout the movie. Like, the main song, you heard it in the trailer, I Got 5 on It by Loomis, you know, and there's one scene where they're trying to escape the friend's house because Lupita's doppelganger family comes back. Like, after they escape the first house to go to the friend's house, well, Lupita's Lupita's doppelganger family comes back to try to kill them. So they're trying to escape, and they found the friend's car, so they're trying to drive away with the friend's car, and the dad and the daughter and the son, the son is in the back seat. And Lupita, she's like, "Okay, all right, let's go. Let me drive." And the daughter's in the driver's seat, and the daughter's like, "No, I'm driving." And Lupita's like, "No, I'm driving." And then the dad is like, "Well, we could settle this by whoever killed the most people." So the dad is like, "Well, I killed 2, and all you other guys killed 1, so I win. So if you add it up, 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equal 5. And then there's another scene where Lupita's family gets confronted by the doppelganger family and the evil version, which is named Red. She's breaking down the story of, like, basically comparing normal Lupita's life to her life. Like, basically, you know, you get to live good up here. You get to eat good food, yada yada yada. While we eat scraps, we get crap gifts. You know, we're basically struggling to survive while you basically live the high life with this wonderful, beautiful family that you get to enjoy, and we don't get to enjoy anything. That's pretty much what she's saying in this scene. And she asks Lupita to, you know, handcuff herself to the table. And, you know, she's like pleading with the her evil version of herself. She's like, "Please don't harm my children." She's holding up the number 5. And she actually does this, like, again, towards the end. She doesn't say, like, "Please don't protect my kids." She basically says to her son that we're going to be okay, and she holds up the number 5. So 5 is a very important number in this film. Like I said, tethering, like I said, is a bond between two entities. Another reoccurring theme that I kept seeing was Lupita and her son. Like, there's a lot of scenes where the son wanders off and Lupita is, like, you know, in a panic. You know what I'm saying? Trying to find her son. Like, it happens like quite a few times. This is also another thing that I seen that nobody mentioned, but I've picked up on it. Actually, the first time when I saw it, I saw that theme like play over and over again. Like the son will always wander off, and Lupita will end up trying to find him. And I feel like that could play a role into the whole tethering aspect, where, you know, there's some kind of a special bond between the mother and that son, because the son is almost like Lupita in this movie, where Lupita is kind of like quiet. She doesn't really say anything. The son, he's kind of like off in this movie. He's kind of like that weird, you know, when I first saw it, he's kind of like that. I took him as kind of like a smart aleck, but kind of like thinking it over again and watching other people's reviews, I feel like he was more like an autistic kind of kid. And he kind of has like the same traits as Lupita's character. So, you know, when the son wanders off and Lupita's running after him, I feel like the son is the most similar to Lupita, because the big twist at the end, like, remember when I told you when Lupita was younger, when she's in that house of mirrors, she sees her actual self with her back turned. Now, in the beginning and throughout the movie, they kind of cut it out. They kind of cut the scene off at that particular point. So we don't know what happened like right after. So as you're watching the movie in the beginning, you're thinking that she probably ran away. But come to find out at the end, the girl that had her back turned was actually the evil version of her. And the evil version that came up years later to attack Lupita is the real girl. It's wild, man. It's definitely wild. So yeah, that's that big twist, because you definitely see in the beginning that Lupita, she's off. She's not her normal self. Like she talks, but she doesn't really talk much. And with the tether in this film, they can't talk because they're like a bad clone gone bad. They're like a bad experiment of humans, pretty much. So like everything that the tether does where they're at in these little underground laboratories or whatever you want to call it, they're doing the same thing up top. So like, you know, as normal humans, you know, normal humans living day to day, doing daily activities, whatever everybody's doing up top, so are the tether are doing down low. So it's kind of like that as above, so below kind of thing. If you're really into like natural law, like the law of correspondence, you know, there's, you know, planes of existence, and each plane of existence is corresponding with one another. So that's basically what that is. Like the bad clone version that's living in these underground cities and these underground dwellers are doing the same thing as the people up top. And it's kind of like a have and have nots kind of story, where you have you know, you have the haves who has all the riches, they have all the food, they get the family, you know, they get to enjoy their lives. And then you have the have-nots, which is the poor, and they're pretty much living in squalor. They're not eating good food. They're basically pretty much down in their luck. So it's you could kind of get both things, both kind of like both meanings with that. There's another reference too called there was this foundation that exists. I didn't know about this until like after I saw the movie, but in the beginning of the movie, they play this commercial from Hands of America. Now, Hands of America was a foundation that started back in 1986. I think it was May 25th, 1986, where a bunch of people will gather in a line and hold hands all across America. And this was to like raise awareness and kind of solve the poor, like the poorness and the homelessness in America. And they basically raised like $15 million doing that campaign. And the campaign actually was ran by Rerun Africa. And I think that's the same company that, you know, was in charge of doing that song, We Are the World, We Are the Children. Yeah, like they're the same company who ran that campaign. And it's basically a campaign that ran in 1986. I got this from Wikipedia, so I don't know how accurate is that. If somebody run across this video, you could correct me. But that's pretty much what I've read on Wikipedia. But yeah, when I first saw the Hands of America thing, I didn't really think much of it. I thought it was just, something that they played up for the movie. But, come to find out, this was actually an organization that actually existed in the late 80s. It actually existed before I was born. So that's why I didn't know nothing about it up until now. So this little foundation thing plays a huge part in this film because when the tether rises from their underground dwellers for years, when they come back up to Earth where all the normal humans are at, they're like holding hands, like all together in a line, like a huge line. And actually you see the huge line towards the end, like you have all these tethers like just holding hands in a huge line. Because like I said in the beginning, the Hands Across America was basically a campaign to solve homelessness and poor. So the idea was to bond together and to hold hands all across the U.S., form a line. And, they actually did that in 1986. So this is not like, I'm just not saying it. They actually, people back then actually, what it is, they signed up for a donation. Like they put a $10 donation down to have a spot in the line. And they got in line, they held hands with one another, and it was all across different major cities throughout the U.S. Of course, it wasn't one continuous chain. It was broken up. But it was pretty much a long line. I think Wikipedia said if the chain was unbroken between certain cities, the line will go all across 48 states. So you could imagine how many people that was. And like I said, this foundation raised, I think, $15 million that year. So this foundation, like I said, plays a major key. So you could tie that back to homelessness. Like the tether could be like, they could represent the poor of, America. And you could see like the normal people. They probably represent, like I said, the wealthy, the well-offs, like I said. And yeah, so that was one reference. And then another one too was the biblical reference of Jeremiah. Now, this verse is Jeremiah 11:11, and it's basically about the broken covenant. Basically, the people in Judah basically broke away from God's covenant, and basically God is like, he's talking to Jeremiah, and he's basically telling Jeremiah that, look, these my children has broken my covenant. They're serving other gods now. They're following the iniquities of their forefathers, and they're pretty much they pretty much left me astray. And then in Jeremiah 11:11, he says, "Thus says the Lord, I've come to bring calamity, and even if they cry out to me, I won't answer their cries." That's basically what that's not what the verse says verbatim, but I'm basically paraphrasing what the verse is. Basically, is like, even if the people cry out to me, because they broke my covenant, I will not hear their cries. I will not answer their call. Pretty much. So it's pretty much like, the have-nots, are fed up living, this rough life, this, basically living a life of just dog crap, and they're coming back to take what's theirs. So like I said, it's the people down low, basically on the rise to take over the land and to take over what they feel that they deserved. So you could definitely go with that aspect as well. And like I said, another key reference was the color red. Red plays a very big part in this because the tether, which is the clones, they wear red jumpsuits. Now, Lupita's character, the evil one, which we find out was actually the real one. She's basically like the ringleader of this whole plot. Like, she basically gathers all the tether around because in the movie, when Lupita was younger, she could dance. She played ballet. So when she was down in the underground, she used to dance in front of, the tethered people. So all the other tethered people, they're not too smart. Like I said, they don't know how to talk. So all the other tethered people, when they watched her dance, they thought that she was special. So they kind of anointed her as this chosen one to kind of like lead this sort of like revolution. So she's the one who basically put this whole plan together to, recite the whole Hands of America thing and to basically rise up against the humans that's living on Earth and to basically just wipe out all the humans so they could basically get revenge pretty much and basically take what they feel that they deserve. Like I said, it's kind of like the have and have nots. Like you have the poor who lives in America, pretty much living in squalor. You have the haves, they have everything, yada, yada, yada. And basically, just imagine one day all the homeless people get together and like, you know what, screw this, man. We're going after everything. Like, I'm tired of living like this. It's time to kill all these regular humans and, it's time to take back what's ours. So that's pretty much what the premise is. But you could go in other angles as well. Some people was like, well, you could say that, it's the old Native Americans try to take the country back, whatever. I've heard that. Like I said, you could basically interpret this in many different ways. Also, the House of Mirrors too. I didn't even catch this, but apparently in the film, in the beginning, the House of Mirrors that Lupita's younger self goes into is called Shaman. What is it called? It's called Shaman Vision something. Find Yourself. And then when she gets old, when she gets older, that same House of Mirrors, they changed the name to Merlin. I didn't even catch that. I thought it was always Shaman, but when I was watching the reviews after I saw the film, there was like, yeah, they changed the name at the end. Like they changed the name of the House of Mirrors. Now it's House of Merlin, and they changed how the inside look. Because it looks similar, so I didn't even pinpoint that. So you see, like this movie, it's so subtle in many different ways. Like you could just miss certain things and you didn't even know. So it's just a lot to take from this, and I know I'm going all over the place, but I'm basically going off top. But yeah, man, it's very detailed, man. It's very detailed. And like I said, with this whole underground sewer thing, this whole underground lab, because basically like the tether is like a failed government experiment. Like they basically wanted to clone humans, and they pretty much failed because what they found out, this is very key, what they found out is that they could clone a human body, but they can't clone the soul. So, of course, we all have, a soul. And when you try to clone us, you can't copy a soul. You could just copy the body. So that's why the tethered are not very smart. They're not well functioned. They can't do it. They're like zombies. You know what I'm saying? And basically, like, the government abandoned this project. So they left all these clones just in this underground city, just doing whatever. But they pretty much mimic what people are doing at the top. So, like I said before, this is like as above, so below. If you're into the 7 natural laws, one of the natural laws is the law of correspondence, which basically states there's levels, there's planes of existence, and each plane of existence has a correspondence with one another. So it's like in the book of Matthew, I'm not a Bible thumper at all, but in the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 9 and 10, thy kingdom come, thy will be done as on earth as in heaven. Basically, like it's basically the same kind of premise. Like what happens on another plane will happen down low too. So like, if something's happening in heaven, same thing is going on here. And the opposite. If something's going on in another plane of existence, the same thing will be going on in that other plane of existence. So it tells that whole as above, so below thing, the law of duality, basically, pretty much. Because in the movie, like towards the end, they showed, they flashed back to when Lupita was younger, and they showed her at the carnival, and everything that they was doing at the carnival, even all the other people that was in the carnival at that particular moment in time, they was also doing down low. So when the father was playing the game and he won the prize, he was playing the game, the tethered version of the father was playing the game down low, and he gave the daughter a prize. So everything, like I said, everything that we do up top, they also do down low. So it's that whole duality, as above, so below kind of thing. And, you know, with the red jumpsuits, you could definitely take that as, you know, the working class, because it's like red, you know, red working jumpsuits. So it basically symbolizes, you could take that as, you know, symbolizing factory workers, you know, the hard blue collar worker, you know, working hard, not getting paid much, living in squalor, just, you know, just going day by day, just walking zombies, you know, and then one day they rise up because they're fed up of how they're living, because they see the have not, they see, you know, the wealthy, or they see the rich, you know, just doing whatever, and they're tired of it. So, like I said, have nots, you know, you could say, you know, the underground is hell, the up is heaven, and it's the revenge of hell, and, you know, the whole rebellion thing. You could go that route also. You could go, like I said, you could take this in so many ways, man, just so many ways. I could go all day and to try to figure out what the different messages you could take from this film, but basically, it's a lot of symbolism in it. I know I jumped all over the place, and I'm going to upload this because I don't care. But yeah, man, you could take a lot from this. And one other thing too, now I didn't catch this until I saw a review today, and they brung up this particular scene, and I started to think about it, and I was like, wait a minute, nah, that's very interesting. So the scene I'm talking about, it's Lupita's husband's friend's house. Like I said, remember I told you they have a tethered version, and basically, in the friend's house, the tethered, their doppelganger comes after them in their house. So they stab the husband, they stab the wife, and they stab the two daughters. So pretty much everyone's dead except for the wife at this point, because she's like basically crawling to her death. She's on the floor, she's like kneeling down, and she has this thing on her dresser, like it's like Alexa. You know what I'm saying? Like the Amazon thing, Alexa, where you could like do voice commands and stuff like that, and they'll play certain songs and they'll do certain commands based on your voice. So she's crawling on her knees at this point, and they're just basically standing there. She's crawling, and then she says, I don't think she says Alexa, it's called something else, but it's basically the same thing. But basically she says, Alexa, call the police. And the machine, it says, okay, play F the Police by NWA. And at first, when I first saw that, I didn't really pay no attention to it, but I felt like that was a shot. I actually felt like that was a shot towards white people, because if you think about it, you know, blacks in this country, whenever we're in danger and we try to call the cops don't show up. That's like a huge problem within, you know, if you live in the hood, or if you live, you know, in the low poverty area, when blacks suffer, or when blacks are in danger, whatever, they try to call the police doesn't arrive, and we're always like the victims of brutality. So I kind of felt like Jordan was trying to portray in the scene, he was trying to, how can I word this? Like, he was basically trying to say, like, here's a taste of your own, here's a taste of our medicine, white people. Like, you always, you know, anytime when you're in trouble, the cops are always so quick to come to your door and help solve the day. But now, you know, let me like flip the tables a little bit. I felt like that was a little shot, and he was trying to basically portray a message of like, whites always get the privilege of like always getting the police on their side when they're in danger. But now, you know, in this film, it's like, okay, have a taste of what we feel, white people. So I kind of feel like that was like a subtle shot at that. I don't think a lot of people will pick up on it, but after thinking about it, it makes a lot of sense to me, because like in the song too, like F the Police, I felt like, yeah, that was definitely a message. Basically, you know, now the shoe is on the other foot, pretty much. That's basically what I was trying to say. because like I said before, you know, I'm not trying to make this into a race thing. I'm just trying to bring up a point. Like, you know, when black people call the police, the cops, you know, take their time to come, and, you know, we're pretty much like in danger, and they never come on time. But when white people call the police, oh, they're there right away. But I feel like he was trying to I felt like Jordan was trying to flip the script in that, and try to show white people, you know, like, you know, have a taste of our own medicine, pretty much. I know I kind of botched that, but whatever. But yeah, man, this review has gone way overboard, way long. I think I'm gonna end it here. I don't think I have anything else to say about this movie, but yeah, man, if you see it, man, definitely pay attention. Or if you have seen it, let me know what you think. Because there's probably some things that I've missed also. Like I said, this film, you could take it in so many different ways. So I'm going to just end it here. I'm going to upload this whatever. I don't care how this turns out. So, you know, if I did a terrible job, I apologize, man. But there was so much to say about this movie, and I was trying to find the best way to do it. And I felt like this way was best, just going off top, just, you know, just throwing little stuff here and there. And like I said, I know my thoughts are like scatterbrained, and I'm not, you know, organized, and I'm just saying things left and right, and nothing is connecting. But, you know, if you get something out of this, man, I greatly appreciate it. Even if you didn't watch this review in its entirety, I truly appreciate it, man, because, you know, time is precious, and you don't get that back. Time is something that you could lose and you can never gain back. So even if it's for a second, I appreciate you spending that second with me. So with that being said, man, I'm out. Look out for my next review. I don't even know what movie I'm going to review next, but you'll see it when I put it up on my channel. And yeah, man, just stay tuned for more. I'm out.